Good afternoon, folks. Hey, we're back here at the Dusty Acre Ranch doing a little bit of cleaning today. And one of the things I get asked a lot about is, I've got this rusty old Dutch oven or skillet. What do I do with it? Is it beyond repair? And I tell them no. There's never a point where they get beyond repair. And here about, I'm going to say about March last year, or this year, we did a segment about doing sweet and sour chicken, and I used a 10-inch with some oil in it to kind of fry our chicken up in it and get it ready. And got the neighborhood dogs barking, so in the background, apologize for that. Anyways, and so I purposely left that oven with the oil in it to set. And now it's December, so it's been sitting out in the rain and the elements for quite a few months. And so I thought I'd show it to you today. This is that 10-inch oven, and as you can see, it's pretty gnarly, and I wanted people to see really gnarly. And in there is the oil that's still got the segments and stuff from when we did our frying, and a little bit of rust in there. Nothing so much on the bottom of the lid, but on the top of that lid, there's quite a bit of rust. And so if you get an oven like this, or a skillet, it's repairable. So don't just chuck it in the garbage and go get a new one, unless you got billions of money laying around the house. Anyway, I can smell this oil. I know that it's rancid, but I tell you what, that's kind of helping create that patina in the bottom, just sitting in there for quite a bit of time. And so now that it's kind of got to this point where it's like, okay, I can show it with all the rust and sitting on the back patio. And so we're going to set that aside. And in another segment, after we've done putting it through this electrolysis process, we can show it to you and show you how it comes out. So we'll set that to the side. Now, this is my electrolysis tank. And I may not have all the terms correctly for these chemistry and guys that I did take chemistry, but let's put it this way, I didn't do very well in that class. And so I had a gal the other day that was looking for somebody to help her with some skillets that she had of her grandma's that she had inherited, and they had a lot of crud on them. And I've got some pictures of them that we'll try and post on here so that you kind of get an idea. I think we can probably include it in the video, the still shots, and show them the progress of what we've done. But these are the skillets right here, and they're not quite done, but you can see that there's still, some crud in there. And if you were to run your fingers around it, you would definitely feel it on them. But who knows how many years and how much cooking these have endured and got to that point. And a couple of little small ones that are nice. One of them still has the heat ring on the bottom of it. One of them is probably a little bit older that has no heat ring on it. So anyway, you see where I was kind of scratching a little bit, but if you look really closely, you might be able to see some of the swirls in there of when this was machined and originally manufactured, that they sanded it smooth and got it all nice. So with that being said, what do you do? Now these had a little bit of rust on them, and they had a whole lot of crud on them that you'll be able to see in these pictures. And so what we do is I took this rack and I put it down inside my tub here. It's an old Rubbermaid tub, and there's just a few components to this. And one is you have to have an electrode. And if you look at all the rust that's collected on the bottom of this thing, this was a clean steak. We use it on our firebox for doing chuck wagon cook-offs, but this was a clean steak. And through this process of those skillets, that's a lot of the crud that came off the bottom of those skillets and went right to this electrode. So we place this down in here. It's got that nice little hook to kind of keep it from going anywhere, and we just keep that separated. And then what I wound up doing, set these off to the side. I took an old dishwasher tub rack, and you don't have to have the rubber bottoms on or anything like that, but I just set that down inside there and let it submerge. And at the time, I didn't have any water in here whatsoever. And then I put my skillets in there, and I took a piece of tie wire, And I went through each of the skillets and wrapped them together so that there would be a nice connection between all four of those skillets. Then I added my water, and at the same time I added about 1 cup of Arm & Hammer washing soda. Not baking soda, washing soda. Hey, knock it off. And we get that over in the detergent aisle at Walmart and various places, various grocery stores have it. Anyway, 1 cup of that, and then we sprinkle that down in there with our water. Our skillets are in there, and then this is your other component. An old 12-volt battery charger for like your car. And those newer ones, they tell me don't work quite the same because they got like a computer in them, and I don't understand all that stuff, but very simple to use this. And so what you do is once you've got your skillet down in there, put my wires all tied up, I'll use this one for an example. I just set that down inside there, and you do not want your electrode over here to touch any of this metal. And I know you're saying, well, you put electricity in water, it kind of runs through it. So here's how I want you to remember this. You put the skillet on the negative, or the negative on the skillet, and you put the positive on your electrode. I would take and probably file that down or sand it down a little bit to where I had a really good connection so that it would work better. And I try to tell people to remember it this way. You got all the junk on here, and you want to get rid of it. You want to turn it into a positive thing, so send it away. And so you send it over here to this electrode. And just those two connections without these touching anywhere, that washing soda, you want to have your piece that you're trying to clean up fully submerged in the water, and then just plug it in. And I usually put it on the high cycle and let it go overnight, and then check it the next day and see how we're doing. Now, these skillets, there was so much stuff on them that I've actually had all four of them in here for 3 days. And then I took them out and got a lot of the crud off. Just used a brush and kind of a nylon brush, kind of got all that stuff off. I even used some Dawn dishwashing soap and cleaned them up really good. And then I examined to see where I was at. Some of them kind of scraped with a little spoon and fork and got some more of it to chip off. But there's still some more that needs to be done. And so then I took the 10-inch skillet and I put it in here by itself with not as much water. Still did the full cup of washing soda, plugged it in and put it on high, and I let it set for 3 days. And I got quite a bit more stuff off of it, but still not perfect where I want them. So I'm going to try another method tomorrow, and we'll do another video on that. But this is what I wanted to show you for electrolysis. If you have a skillet that's rusty or Dutch oven that's rusty, this works really well at getting that rust off. A lot of times you get that crud, that built up crud over the years. Now, I don't know on these skillets if she used Pam or lard or some other type of coating when she cooked with them, but there was a lot of gunk that was on it. It was probably, I'd say 1/8 of an inch thick all the way around it. So there was a lot of stuff that came off of it. So we like this process. It's very simple. It's very easy to do. Some people get very technical with it, where they build a bigger, deeper pot. They put a piece of 2x4 across the top. They drill holes and put a hook underneath it to where they hang the skillets from that hook, and that all gets submerged down in the water. Then they can just make their connections up here on the top between each of those metal posts to carry that current. But simple process. So give it a try. Any questions? Look it up on the internet. There's all kinds of stuff out there. But here's a great example for you. Hit like and subscribe.